meet you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to find out about my brain. Right? Yes. And you like the brain image? No, I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Manon.
Hi. Did you find a brain?
I did find a brain.
So I have a brain.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
There is no doubt.
Thank God.
So what would you like to get out of your visit today?
I have just tried to heal myself out of negative thoughts and use exercise and diet as a way to like heal my brain. And that being said, like after 30 years, I just was like, am I making it really hard on myself? Is there anything going on in my brain that I don't know about? And so when I found out about this clinic and you guys, I was like really hopeful to see if like actual physical evidence and hear your take on it, because I think I've just like been afraid to see and find out things.
By looking at your brain, we can figure out what your brain really needs to work better.
What a relief.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, because I got certified as a neurolinguistic programming practitioner in 2013, and then again as a master practitioner in 2015. So I learned about the thing that we tell ourselves. So I've been so careful about like labeling myself as depression or ADD or like as one thing, just to give myself the option that like, well, maybe that's sometimes and it's not an absolute and all these things. That being said, like, I don't know about anything about my brain. I actually don't know the physical part of it or where it lights up or anything like that. And so I've just kind of like talked myself into feeling good. But I also am like, am I at a disadvantage here? Like, is there only so much that what I tell myself can do? If that makes sense.
I think that's a good perspective. And I think it sounds like you've done a lot of your own work, which is fantastic. Because neurolinguistic programming is a really amazing way to utilize skills to improve the way your brain works. Yeah. And I think that this will bring another piece of it in, right? Yeah. So that's really changing the way that you think and the way that you process. And this is looking at the physical brain and what's actually happening with blood flow when you're trying to focus and concentrate. So hopefully this will be like the other half of what you really need for your brain to work as well as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also saw you had a couple of sort of minor head injuries, right? You'd be amazed how many of my patients were in cheerleading and had head injuries. People either fell on them or they fell on their head. So I thought that in cheerleading, somebody fell on you.
So I was standing in the back because there's a person on the side, and then there's the person in the back that you throw them up and then you catch them. She fell on my nose, and my nose goes sideways this way. Oh. And I don't know if it broke or what happened. I don't know, but I just know it kind of slants, and I have a deviated septum. Oh. And so I've had this story where I've been like, I can only breathe out of one nostril, like forever. I didn't know you could breathe out of both. Like, that's news to me. My boyfriend told me that like a month ago. He's like, no, you breathe out of both. And I'm like, no, one at a time, depending on which flap. So like, I'm just like, am I not getting enough air to one side of my brain? Like, does that affect? I don't know, man.
Interesting. So yes. If it sounds like it was even if you don't end up in a hospital or with a, diagnosed concussion, an injury like that can have lasting effects on your brain.
Oh,
yeah. So that's good.
I got hit in the face with every sport I played. Every ball hit me in the face.
Oh, jeez.
So even at the batting cage. That should never happen. But it flew right in my eye.
You got hit by a baseball or a softball in your eye?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Those are significant injuries, potentially.
I mean, I didn't even take that in at the time. Yeah. I was like, well, you just like brush it off like a dog.
Yeah, we kind of just move on, right?
Yeah.
It's true. It's so true. Let's look at the brain.
Oh my gosh.
All right, here's your brain. So do you notice any areas that look a little low?
Oh, I see a hole.
Yeah.
Stupid hole.
Little hole right there.
Dang you hole.
Yeah. So that is let's see here. That's the right side. It's like behind your right forehead. And it looks like you probably had a head injury that had a significant impact right there. Yeah. Behind your right forehead. And so a little bit low here too. There's a little bit of a dent, but it's more significant on the right than the left. So prefrontal cortex, very important for focus, concentration, planning, impulse control. So that's what we're seeing here. A little bit lower blood flow to these areas, likely due to past head injuries that did not completely heal. Now, it's not severe, it's mild, and it's healable. So we can totally work to help these areas heal. Prefrontal cortex, we discussed. Temporal lobes, really important for mood regulation. So when it's a little bit low, more likely to have mood fluctuations that may feel harder to control. And now we can look at the inside of your brain.
Jesus. Oh, God.
Here's yours.
Okay, calm down.
It's okay.
Chill out.
It is a little bit active.
What
You
the
see?
Sorry to curse. What? Why? How?
Well, we've got a few things going on here. Okay.
All right.
So where do you notice that's bright? Brighter here than here.
Just all this, this,
Yeah.
but this is not a lot, which is interesting because that one's bigger here. A lot up here.
Yeah.
And then more here.
Okay.
And then nothing here.
Perfect.
Oh,
That's okay.
okay.
That's okay. This, though, is really bright.
Oh yeah, the white.
Right in the
The
center.
white's everywhere, but it's even here.
Yeah. So this is your thalamus. This is the center of the limbic system, the stress response system in your brain. And yours is pretty bright. So this will make you more prone to negative thoughts and sad emotions. So a little bit of depression can come from this area. Also, a little bit of activation here can be good for motivation, but a lot of activation can create kind of an imbalance. So it's a little bit more than we would expect. And then we've got these two areas. Okay, these are the basal ganglia. There's one on each side. And basal ganglia, again, a little bit of activation there can be good for inner motivation, but a lot of activation can make you prone to anxiety. You even have a little bit of activation out here towards the edges, and that's really called the insular cortex, which can sort of heighten that effect of anxiety. So sort of make you feel even a little bit more anxious. And this is your anterior cingulate gyrus, and it's actually reasonable. So got a little bit of activation there, a little bit there, not a big deal. Your cerebellum, remember I said that's where the brightest area should be, is not too bad, right? Lots of activation there, but we're getting a lot of blood flow to these stress response centers in the middle of your brain as well. And this is probably where, some of like the depression, the anxiety, the mood fluctuations are coming from, is this stress response center in the center of your brain. And so what I would say, oh, by the way, this area back here, this is a posterior cingulate gyrus. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So there's some research suggesting that this kind of goes into the visual cortex. So if you're more visual, this will be brighter. It can also be a sign of innate intelligence. So if you needed proof that you're smart, right there.
I knew it. I knew
there you
it.
go. But I do think that these areas of the brain are creating some challenges for you from an emotional standpoint.
And those challenges would be like anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep, absolutely.
Sick.
Remember, this is in concentration. So in concentration, your brain looks a little stressed.
Yes, for sure.
Right? So the approach is to calm this stress response so that you're able to focus and concentrate better.
I've just learned to be good under pressure and like put myself in situations that for most people are stressed out in, like stand up or bungee jumping.
Sure.
Or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, I feel like I have to do it to like overcome the fear. But then I'm also like, I feel like it comes from a place of like just being used to being stressed out. I don't know.
Interesting. The recommendations I have for you are twofold, right? One is we want to work on improving the blood flow to these areas of the brain. And two, we want to work on calming the stress response here. Then I think your brain is just going to work a lot better. You're going to feel a lot more calm when you're trying to focus and concentrate and more productive. So I think this is exactly what's getting in your way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That feels spot on.
Good stuff.
Wowza.
All right. So what are we going to do?
I don't know. You tell me.
That's what I'm going to do next.
Okay.
Okay. So we talked about a couple of things already. You're going to make sure you're better hydrated, right? Add some electrolytes. You're going to reconnect with your therapist. And I would suggest that you just get on a regular routine. Maybe it's every other week, a couple times a month, check in. Does your therapist give you homework? Work on this? Maybe journal?
Not so much. But there has been a time where he'll ask me write a letter to my dad.
Good.
You know, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
I've had mentors in the past that have helped me as well.
Nice.
That have given me exercises like when I needed to learn to set boundaries or say no. If a guy's asking for my number and I don't have an interest in knowing him further than that moment, I used to be like, sure, people please. And I remember I had a sponsor be like, no is a complete sentence. And I was like, what? And so I have to practice relearning how to be a human.
Boundaries. Huh?
Yes. And that was always terrifying. But once you do it and the brain kind of goes, okay, I'm not going to die. Let me learn how to,
Right. If you calm the stress response around that, right?
Yeah.
Good. I think that I'd like you to try serotonin mood support. It's a supplement that Dr. Amen created that has a similar benefit to SSRIs without the side effects.
Okay.
Yeah. There's one more I'd like to suggest.
Yeah.
It's called Brain and Memory Power Boost.
Okay.
It's my favorite brain repair supplement. Really good at helping to heal past head injuries. And it is really good for focus and concentration, but it also has sort of a calming component. And I think that's really important for you.
I have so many supplements at home, but I'll take it for a week and forget. I don't know. I guess my question for these things is how long?
I want you to do it for 6 months.
Whew.
Yeah. And the reason is, so Dr. Amen did some really good studies with the retired NFL football players, and they are people who had head injuries. We know that over the course of 6 months with healthy nutrition, lifestyle, and healing supplements, we see significant improvement. Things like the holes fill in on the scans. So much improved past head injuries with that approach. So 6 months is a really good amount of time to kind of hit the reset button to really get your brain into a healthy place. And then typically after 6 months, I usually have patients scale back and say, okay, now what do you need for maintenance? And it may not be all these supplements in the long run, but usually a scaled down version.
Because sometimes with supplements in my life, I have a hard time noticing if it's doing anything. Comparative to Lexapro, where I was like, oh, I feel it.
Yeah.
And this is a significant change. Whereas with supplements, I'm like, do I feel it? Is this doing anything? And if I have a thought that it's not doing anything, I put it to the side. And I don't want to do that. I want to trust and give this 6 months and actually repair my brain. This feels really important to me.
Yeah.
And so,
and I will tell you,
I'm lacking confidence in myself that I'm actually going to do it.
And I think you're right. And I think the thing to remember is now you have a doctor saying this is what your brain needs.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a very tailored, it's not just a scattering of supplements that might help in the long run.
Yeah.
This is a very focused recommendation based on your symptoms and your brain health. If you are able to take these consistently for 2 months, you're going to notice a difference. It may take 4 to 6 weeks before there's a nice shift. So I'm just being honest with you, but it will make a difference. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
But get the one I send you, because some supplements out there are not fantastic. There's a lot of supplements out there that just are not high quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's so helpful.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.